Hello everyone, welcome back to Believer Science Academy, Bengaluru. This is daily news analysis session. In this session, we'll discuss some 4 to 5 important articles from UPSC prelims, mains and interview perspective. The first article for the day, that is 29th January 2025, is an editorial from the Hindu which deals with US immigration blocks as a self-defeating path. Okay, you might have heard about Donald Trump being elected as the president of United States of America. Under his Make America Great Again policy, he is trying to send all the immigrants back to their home nations, and he is also trying to put certain blocks so that the immigrants are not able to enter into the USA. So this article sees and argues that the restriction of the skilled immigration or skilled labor immigration, it will be counterproductive for the America in the future. Okay, so we'll see what the authors try to say here. Argues that restricting skilled immigration, particularly H-1B visas, hinders innovation and job creation in the US. It challenges the assumption that limiting foreign talent benefits American workers and highlights the negative economic consequences of visa restrictions. So here the author tries to discuss the impact of these measures on the jobs and how it is brain circulation and not brain drain, etc., etc. So on the impact on jobs, he says that research shows that restricting H-1B visas does not increase employment for American workers, but instead accelerates outsourcing. Okay, in the sense, what the work was being done in USA by the H-1B visa holders will now be outsourced to countries like India, Vietnam, Bangladesh, etc., etc. The work will be outsourced to these countries and the employment will be instead generated in these countries instead of being generated in USA. Okay, so just the restriction of H-1B visas is not going to create employment for the Americans. Okay, then a 1% drop in H-1B supply can reduce foreign direct investment by 10 to 20%. Okay, this is a very significant economic hindrance as well. 1% drop, FDI drop by 10 to 20%. Okay, H-1B visas historically created more jobs with each visa generating an average of 1.83 additional positions. Okay, the assumption that H-1B visas is snatching the jobs of Americans is false, because one H-1B visa is generating 1.83 jobs to other persons. Okay, then the knowledge spillovers from foreign workers increases wages and productivity. Okay, then author says that it is the brain circulation and not the brain drain. That is the traditional idea of brain drain. What is brain drain? That is losing the skilled labor of one country to another country. For example, you might have heard about brain drain in India. That is, the skilled laborers are moving out of India to find jobs in important countries like USA, UK, Australia, etc., etc. It was considered as brain drain from India to other countries, but here with respect to USA, the editorial says that the traditional idea of brain drain, that is losing skilled workers to other countries, is being replaced by brain circulation. Very key word, very key word. Okay, important word, where international experience strengthens both the sending nations and the receiving nations. Okay, so India and USA, initially it was considered as movement of skilled labor from India to USA was brain drain, and USA considered this as loss of jobs, But this article or editor argues that it is not the loss of job or it is not the brain drain from India. Instead, it is the brain circulation for both these countries. Okay, that is experience or expertise will be gained by people who are going to USA, and that experience will be shared by the people who are working in USA, and it is again sent back to the people who are working in India again. Okay, then India, for instance, benefits from its diaspora by fostering innovation ecosystems at home. Okay, so you might have seen about remittances. India is the highest, like India is the first like country with the highest remittances in the world. So it is working in benefit of India as well. Then US competitiveness at risk. That is, studies shows that when foreign talent faces visa barriers, companies move operations abroad. Okay. Then H1B workers contribute significantly to patents and technological innovation, especially in hubs like Silicon Valley. Okay, so if you are restricting the skilled labors, you will be restricting all this technological innovation as well. The current visa cap is outdated and does not align with the market demands. Okay, so moving forward, USA should look forward for different policy recommendations, such as USA needs more flexible and transparent visa policies that match market needs. Then streamlined pathways for foreign entrepreneurs and students trained in the USA would boost innovation as well. And finally, modernizing labor laws and supporting risk taking and innovation clusters can help sustain American technological leadership. That is, the leaders can remain from America, where the workers can be H1B1 visa holders, so that the jobs are generated both for Americans as well as there is no dearth of H1B visa holders. Okay, so to conclude, the editorial says that restricting skilled immigration will be counterproductive in the long run. Instead of protecting domestic jobs, it weakens the US's ability to innovate and compete globally. Therefore, a balanced immigration policy is crucial to sustaining economic growth and maintaining leadership in science and technology. Okay, then second article, it is again an editorial from the Hindu. It talks about child marriage. The editorial reads, substantive equality in child marriage laws. Okay, so the editorial discusses the inconsistencies in child marriage laws in India, highlighting gender disparities in legal provisions for annulment. The editorial critiques the differential age criteria for men and women and argues for uniformity in the legal age of marriage and annulment. Okay, so what is the legal disparities in annulment at present? The Prohibition of Child Marriage Act, that is PMCA 2006, allows annulment of child marriage if the petition is filed within 2 years of attaining majority. Okay, that is, there is a girl child who is married off at the age of 14. Then if she wants to annul the marriage, she can file a petition within 20 years. That is, 18 is considered as the attaining majority age. Okay, and after that, within 2 years, she can also apply for the annulment of the marriages. Okay, then the marriage will be considered as null and void. And under the Majority Act of 1975, the majority attained at 18 years. But PMCA defines child differently for both boys and the girls. For boys, it is under 21. For girls, it is under 18. Why the discrepancy there? If the majority is defined as 18 years according to the Majority Act of 1875, and if the annulment can be done when you reach a majority and within 2 years of majority, why there is a difference or discrimination with respect to like boys and girls? So courts have interpreted this distinction to mean that men can file annulment petitions until 23, while women can do so by 20 by 20 age, creating an unfair disadvantage for women. Okay, so that is the controversy here. Then, in various judgments or in various decrees, the court has provided many interpretations. That is, the court interpretations and gendered assumptions. In recent Sanjay Chowdhury versus Goodan 2024 case, the Allahabad High Court annulled a marriage where the woman was 12 and the man was 9 at the time of their marriage. The court acknowledged the unfair advantage men have in filing annulment petitions until 23. Okay, here they allowed women even after reaching 20 years of age, that is, even after crossing the 2 years age limit after attaining the majority. Even at the age of 21, the person here was allowed to get annulment. A previous judgment in Independent Thought versus Union of India 2017 permitted men to file annulment petitions until 23, reinforcing gender biases that expect men to be financially responsible while viewing women as dependents. Okay, so again there is a mismatch. Okay, again there is a discrepancy between the court judgments. Then the Allahabad High Court annulled the marriage but left the issue of age limits to the Supreme Court. So now the ball is in the Supreme Court's court. Okay, Supreme Court's court only. Now, so what is the impact of higher marriage age? That is, raising the legal marriage age to 21 as proposed in the Prohibition of Child Marriage Amendment Bill 2021 aims to delay early marriages but risks further extending state control over women's autonomy. Okay, that is 21 years, at least 21 years they cannot marry, meaning that even after attaining the majority age of 18, they have to wait for 3 more years in order to deal with their own autonomy. That is, if they are indulging in premarital sex, if they are indulging in live-in relationships. Here, the autonomy or the autonomy of women is under the control of state again. Okay, then studies show that 49.4% of reported child marriages are self-initiated, and legal restrictions may criminalize young women's choices rather than protect them. Okay, many a times what happens here is, because of various reasons, women tend to marry, or the girls tend to marry before they attain the majority, because they run away from their home, because of some other various reasons. They themselves self-initiate the marriages. Now, this is according to the rule, that is according to the Prevention of Child Marriage Act of 2006, is illegal. Okay, if they are marrying at the age of 14, 15, self-initiated, now imagine the age limit to 21. If they are getting married at the age of 19, then also it is considered as child marriage only. Okay, so now you will be curtailing the rights of girl child there. Okay, then so there is a need for reform, a case for reform. That the article argues that instead of just criminalization, efforts should focus on access to education, health services, and economic opportunities to empower women. Gender equality in marriage laws requires addressing the imbalance in annulment rights and ensuring the uniform legal marriage age. Okay, either reduce the like boy child's or women's age to from 21 to 18, or increase women's age from 18 to 21. Therefore, there is an opportunity for change now. The issue presents an opportunity to reassess legal provisions that disadvantage women and reinforce patriarchal norms. Therefore, a more balanced approach would integrate legal reforms with the social interventions to protect women's rights without limiting their agency. Okay, so that is the article, very important article, especially from society and social issues in GS2. You can write down some points and the acts like which are mentioned there. The Majority Act of 1875, Prevention of Child Marriage Act of 2006. What is the majority age for women, and what is the age limit for annulment of marriage, that is 18 plus 2 years or majority plus 2 years. So you can write the important points and you can use those in your answers. Then fourth article, it is from the text and context of the Hindu. It deals about Trump's order on birthright citizenship. Is it constitutional or not? Okay, you might have seen that as soon as Trump became the president of USA, he said that he ordered that citizenship from now onwards will be provided only like citizenship based on the birth will be removed. Okay, it is not if any person previously if any person was born in USA, he was considered as a citizen of USA. Now that provision was removed by Trump. Okay, so we will see whether it is constitutional or not. So first, what is birthright citizenship? That is, birthright citizenship is the principle that grants automatic citizenship to individuals born within the country's territory, irrespective of their parent citizenship status. In the US, this right is derived from the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, which was ratified in 1868. Okay, so what is the 14th Amendment and its significance? The relevant section of the 14th Amendment Act states that all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and the state wherein they reside. Okay, since USA has a dual citizenship, that is, if a person is born in Los Angeles, that is, it belongs to California state, then he is considered as the citizen of California state as well as citizen of USA. Whereas in India, you are only considered as a citizen of India. That is, there is only single citizenship in India. You are not considered as a citizen of Karnataka and then citizen of India. You are considered only as a citizen of India. Whereas in USA, there is a dual citizenship there. So you will be considered as a citizen of a particular state and citizen of United States. Then this amendment was crucial in overturning the Dred Scott versus Sandford of 1857 decision, which had denied citizenship to African Americans. Okay, if you peep into the history of USA, it is mainly between whites versus blacks or African Americans. These were the workers who were working in USA, who were taken them there to work in fields or who were taken there as slaves to work in their domestic household. After the Abraham Lincoln abolished slavery, they were left without citizenship, or they were left without citizenship of their native country or citizenship of USA. Then the case went to the Supreme Court of USA, where it said that you do not get the citizenship birthright according to the citizenship birthright based on the birth. Okay, citizenship right based on the birth. This was overturned by 14th Amendment of USA. Then the principle of jus soli, that is, right of the soil, was reaffirmed in the United States versus Wong Kim Ark, which upheld the citizenship of a man born in the US to Chinese immigrant parents. Okay, he was considered as a citizen of USA. Okay, so what did Trump's executive order propose? Okay, you know that Trump has ordered something extraordinary, that is, Trump's executive order attempted to reinterpret the 14th Amendment, arguing that birthright citizenship does not apply to children of undocumented immigrants or those with temporary legal status. That is, example, tourist and foreign students. If you are a tourist in USA and you are pregnant, you are supposed to happen a baby there, then you should not be provided with your child should not be provided with citizenship status. That is what Trump argues. The phrase "subject to the jurisdiction thereof" excludes such children, meaning they would not automatically become US citizens if they are tourists or foreign students. The order also narrowly defines mother and father as biological parents, excluding transgender and queer parents. Okay, this is one more of the Trump's extraordinary or controversial proposals. That is, there will be only two genders from now on. It doesn't consider transgender, queer as any gender. They should identify themselves as either male or female from now on, according to Trump. Then, so if Trump wanted to reinterpret the 14th Amendment through these areas, so thus the administration justified this move by claiming that birthright citizenship encourages unauthorized immigration and burdens public resources of the United States of America. It is their argument, but it was overturned, or it was blocked by the court. That is, why did Judge John Cohenor block the order? On January 23, 2024, US District Judge John Cohenor in Seattle issued a temporary restraining order against Trump's executive action, calling it blatantly unconstitutional. The key reasons for the blocking order is it contradicts legal precedent. That is, the Wong Kim Ark case had already settled that children born in the US, regardless of their parents' immigration status, are the citizens of United States of America. So now you cannot take away this judicial precedent already set by the court through an executive order. The executive order is in directly conflict with this ruling. It is a clear constitutional violation. Judge also stated that I can't remember another case where the question presented was as clear as this one is. That is, it is very clear that it is violating the constitution. The 14th Amendment does not allow presidential reinterpretation without formal legislative or constitutional amendments. Then, discrimination definition of parenthood. The order's exclusion of transgender and queer parents further undermined its constitutional validity. So, this is the judgment given by Judge John Cohenor. We have to wait and see what happens now. So, what happens next? There will be legal challenges. That is, the ruling is a temporary block, and further legal battles are expected, possibly reaching the US Supreme Court. Constitutional amendment. That is, Trump could attempt to amend the constitution via Article 5, which requires 2/3 support in both houses of Congress and ratification by 3/4 of the states, an extremely difficult process. I don't think this will be passed through so many states. Like that is the US's constitution is considered as a rigid constitution because the amendment process is so rigid and it's so complex in nature. Okay, then so conclusion is that Trump's executive order on birthright citizenship was blocked as unconstitutional due to historical legal precedents, the clear wording of the 14th Amendment, and the discriminatory nature of the order. The final decision may rest with the US Supreme Court, but amending the constitution remains a highly improbable path. We have to wait and see what happens in that particular case. Then, fourth article is choice of secular inheritance law should apply to all the faiths. CJ's observation. Very important article. So the background to this is Chief Justice of India, that is Sanjeev Khanna, recently made a significant observation regarding the inheritance laws in India. What is inheritance? That is the property inheritance or any inheritance from parents to their offspring. It says that while hearing a petition from Safia PM, a Kerala-based woman who identified as a non-believer despite being born as a Muslim, the CJI remarked that the right to choose secular inheritance laws should apply equally across all the religions. Okay, so first we'll understand what is the issue in the petition. In Safia PM's case, she was born into Muslim family. Safia no longer identifies herself as a believer and wishes to be governed by secular inheritance laws such as the Indian Succession Act of 1925 instead of the Islamic Sharia law. Okay, she says that I do not belong to Muslim, I am not a Muslim anymore, so you should not consider my case under Islamic Sharia law. Instead, you should consider myself under the Indian Succession Act of 1925, which is secular one. Under the Muslim inheritance law or the Sharia law, she would receive only 1/3 of her father's property, while the rest would be distributed among the legal heirs. She argued that abandoning her faith resulted in a loss of inheritance rights, creating a legal vacuum where she had no clear recourse under the secular law. Okay, so very complex issue. So the CJ made some observations, that is, the freedom to choose secular inheritance laws should be extended to individuals of all faiths, not just Muslims. And Hindu Succession Act issue. Under the Hindu law, conversion can lead to disqualification from inheritance in certain cases. raising concerns about fairness and religious neutrality. So CJ also observed that there is a need for changes in official forms. That is, if secular inheritance laws were to be made available to non-believers, official forms should include an option to opt out of mentioning religion as well. Okay, it doesn't matter you belong to particular Hindu religion, Muslim religion, Christianity religion. If you believe to be non-believer, or if you believe like consider yourself to be non-believer, then there is no need of mentioning a religion, and your property inheritance should be considered under the secular law, that is Indian Succession Act of 1925. Okay, then so what is the government's response in this issue? Solicitor General Tushar Mehta acknowledged the complexity of the issue and requested time to file a formal response. He pointed out that inheritance through a will remains unaffected by personal laws, but the CJI emphasized that in interstate succession, that is when there is no will made, will in the sense a person or a father, he is having a will that in his will he is going to write that my property will be distributed among the people so and so. Okay, they are going to follow the will then. If there is no will, okay, if there is no will, if the father or the property holder dies because of some unfortunate events without any will, then CJ emphasized that interstate succession and joint properties are also need reconsideration. Okay, so joint family property also need to be reconsidered, expect when there is no will available. Then what will be the constitutional legal implications? The petition raises important questions on secularism under Article 25, that is freedom of religion of the Indian Constitution. It challenges whether a person leaving a religion should be disqualified from inheriting property from their parents or not. The case may have wider implications on the personal laws, secularism, and individual choice in inheritance matters. So what next? So Supreme Court will examine whether opting off for a secular inheritance laws can be made a right across all the faiths. The government's counter affidavit will provide more clarity on whether legislative changes are necessary or not. Okay, very important. Keep a lookout for this topic. There can be a question on this topic in your interview or prelims as well. So, okay, that is the issue. Then seventh article or fifth article, it talks about ISRO's 100th launch from Sriharikota. So ISRO is hitting century finally. It is a historic milestone. The Indian Space Research Organization is set to achieve a significant milestone with the 100th launch from the Satish Dhawan Space Center, Sriharikota. The upcoming GSLV F-15 mission will carry NVS-02, which is a navigation satellite, into geosynchronous transfer orbit in the early hours of Wednesday. Okay, so in this article talks about evolution of ISRO's launches. So the first launch from Sriharikota was on August 10, 1979, where SLV-3 E-10 mission carrying Rohini technology payload was partially successful. And then under the leadership of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, ISRO bounced back with SLV-3 E2 emission 1980, which successfully placed Rohini satellite RS-1 in orbit. If the first launch was partially successful, second launch was a success. Since then, ISRO has conducted 99 launches comprising of small launch vehicle of 2 missions and advanced small launch vehicle 4 missions, polar satellite launch vehicle 62 missions, which is considered as a ISRO's workhorse, and GSLV 16 missions, LMV or GSLV-3 7 missions, which is used for heavy payloads, and SSLV small scale launch vehicle, small satellite launch vehicle 3 missions, and reusable launch vehicle. It is still in the experimental process, and then Gaganyaan pad abort and test vehicle abort missions. So all these missions together account to 100 missions launches per 100 launches by ISRO. Now, why is Sriharikota the preferred launch site? It is ideal launch azimuth corridor, That is, it allows launches into multiple orbits. Nearness to the equator, that is, it facilitates efficient eastward launches. Large uninhabited safe zone, that is, it ensures a safe launch operations since it is closer to the Bay of Bengal. It has a large uninhabited safe zone as well. So important landmark missions of Sriharikota or ISRO is Chandrayaan missions, Chandrayaan 1 in 2008, Chandrayaan 2, which attempted for soft landing but ultimately failed, and Chandrayaan 3, first country in the world to land on the moon's southern pole. Then interplanetary and space exploration, that is, Mangalyaan in 2023 was the first Mars mission in India, and Aditya L1 is India's first mission to study Sun. And then record-breaking satellite launches, that is, PSLV C-37 in 2017 launched 104 satellites in a single mission, setting a world record at that time. Then Gaganyaan program, which is going to use reusable launch vehicle and abort test, have paved the way for India's first human space flight mission. So despite the successes, there have been certain failures. That is, in 2006, GSLV F-02 INSAT 4C was a failure. GSLV D3 GSAT 4 failed to reach the orbit, and GSLV F10 in 2021 EOS-03 was again a failure. So what is the significance of 100th mission? The upcoming GSLV-15 marks the milestone in ISRO's journey and demonstrates India's advancement in the space technology. As ISRO prepares for upcoming missions, including Gaganyaan and interplanetary exploration, this historic launch symbolizes India's growing prominence in global space exploration. Okay, so like a very fact-loaded article. This one is, try to remember as many missions as possible, and also today's articles are very important. So do make a note of all these important points which I have told you already. So this ends our discussion for the day. Please hit the like button and comment on the video. Also share with your friends. With this, I will end the video. Jai Hind.